Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about the new viral video that is going around that is saying that the strong Black woman stereotype is actually hurting Black women, or at least it's asking the questions. And so I felt like, oh my goodness, this is a topic that I love. This is a topic that I already discussed, right? I don't know if any of you guys caught me last week. I actually was talking about this in terms of like the Wendy Williams, her getting Graves' disease or announcing it anyway, and what that meant for us as women and us as mothers. And so today I am actually talking about this latest viral video produced by Because Facts that really asked the question, is the strong Black woman stereotype hurting Black women? And my answer is not only yes, but hell yes. So yes and yes. And then I want to say, and I think all of us, all women, actually suffer because of this stereotype. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. My name is Brooke-Sidney. My company is called Bella and the Bait, and its mission is to empower authentic and mindful motherhood. And really what I do is I help overwhelmed and guilt-ridden mamas who are freaking tired break free of mama guilt, find more time for self-care and me time, and love the lives they are presently living. And the reason why I say presently living is because we have to love this life right now, this moment. So today I am getting on because I had to get on and talk all about the latest discussion about this super black woman, or the superwoman syndrome, that so many Black women both feel and we also see depicted in the media. And so maybe you're wondering, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? So I'm going to name two names and see if you're familiar with them. The first name is Olivia Pope. The second name is Annalise Keating. And if you're not familiar with them, Olivia Pope plays this superwoman, problem solving, conflict reduction, always strong, badass. Basically, she's like a cleaner upper for all political problems, but really she handles celebrity problems on the show called Scandal, right? She is one of our modern representations of this superwoman syndrome. And the second example is Annalise Keating on the show How to Get Away with Murder. Again, the always resilient, always knowing, problem solving, super strong character that we see so often played out for Black women, not only in television, but in books and throughout recent history, right? Because if we really want to look at it, if we really want to understand where it came from, let's take a look at the history. So in the past, right, we know that there were stereotypes of mammy, and that's where there was an older Black woman who was responsible for taking care of all of like the white family needs. We also had the Jezebel, which is like the highly sexualized Black woman. Now we know Black women are sexually, but this just goes too far. And then we have the Sapphire, which to me, we still see a lot of that. A lot of these we still see a lot of, and that's like the angry Black woman. And we see that so often depicted. In fact, I would say a lot of women of color and Black women feel that today. It's almost the first line of defense. If a Black woman is talking to someone else, it's almost assumed like, oh, she's getting angry, when in fact, oftentimes she's simply calmly stating her opinion and respecting her thoughts, right? But it's often made to seem like she's the angry Black woman. But so basically these negative stereotypes originated, and then the new one, this superwoman syndrome, kind of came as a result or in reaction to that. And the Because Facts video does a really good job of explaining all this. But what I wanted to get on really today and talk about is the negative effects of this for Black women, and I would say for women in general, because even if you're not a Black woman, watching this video or understanding what's going on, I am pretty sure, okay, based around the whole superwoman idea that's going on in society, the whole idea of mothers and women thinking that we have to do it all, right? You can relate to this video, you can relate to my comments, you can relate to what is going on. So in this video, there's a psychologist that's basically interviewed to talk about the substantial negative effects on psychological health that this super black woman syndrome has. And so I want to see if you can identify with any of these 5 characteristics. I know that I could, and I know that I have friends that do. And not all of them are actually Black, right? So the first one is there's a perceived obligation to present an image of strength, right? You always have to be strong. You have to, even if you don't feel strong, you have to look strong, right? An image of strength. Second, you have to have a perceived obligation to suppress emotions, right? I know that so many of you, and if you are listening, if you can hear me and you can relate, have you ever felt like you need to suppress your emotions, that you need to like not look weak, right? You need to look strong. You need to look like you have it all together. Crying is weak, right? As Black women, I'm sure not only have we been told that out loud, we've been given that message by the women that we are surrounded with. Third, do you have a resistance to vulnerability? To me, 2 and 3 go hand in hand. And the idea that you don't want to depend on help from others. Okay, this goes hand in hand with any superwoman syndrome. And I talked about this earlier. We as women, this does not serve us. So let's see, do you have 3? Are you resistant to being vulnerable, or do you feel like it's not a good idea to depend on the help of others or to ask others for help? The fourth one, I'm trying to see if you guys can identify. If you can identify with any of these characteristics, please put them in the comments. Even if you're a replay viewer, I'd love to see if the mothers and women out there can identify with this. Number 4 is there's a motivation to succeed despite limited resources. You know, basically you feel like you got to fight against all odds, right? That you have to be self-motivated. You have to do it on your own. And it doesn't matter what help you have, what resources, you have to do this, right? Do you feel any resonance with that? And the last one, and it's one that I talk about so often, if you've been following me on Belle and the Babe, the last one is the prioritization of caregiving of others in contrasting to balancing that with self-care. Okay, ladies, okay, women out there, okay, girlfriends. This one I think is so key, and I think there's so many women, even women that are not Black, that can relate to this one. Being strong means taking care of everyone else at the expense of taking care of ourselves, right? We are prioritizing caregiving of others above taking care of ourselves. So if you answered, right, yes to any of those characteristics that were shown to be this Black woman, superwoman schema. Hello, thanks so much for joining. If you had said yes to any of these, then I want you to take careful notes, okay? I want you to take careful notes. So again, we are talking today about this Black superwoman syndrome and how I believe, yes, the question was posed, I believe that it is negatively affecting us, okay? So first of all, if you said yes to any of those characteristics, I want you to take a time out. Okay, I want you to take a time out because I want you to understand that first of all, it's time for us to realize that this being a superwoman doesn't even exist. Okay, so even though we have this messaging, we have these women that are in the media, we have our Olivia Popes, we have our Annalise Keatings, we have these women, right? We all know them, super strong, right? They're characters. Okay, first of all, they're characters. They're not real. They are not real. And the second thing that I want to understand is that, and I've talked about this several times, is that we can't do it all. Something or someone is going to fall through the cracks. Something is going to fall to the floor, right? And this article and this viral video is talking more about the fact that usually it is our health. It is us that is most devastatingly affected by trying to be superwoman, trying to live this ideal. And I just want to say right now, stop it. A, it doesn't exist, and B, it is hurting us. And if it's not hurting our health, it's hurting our relationships. And I don't, we could talk about that for another day, our relationships with men, our relationships with our kids, what we're teaching them. Let me just tell you, short and sweet, it is not serving our health and it's not serving our relationships, okay? And the other thing I want to say is that What is wrong with us embracing our femininity? One of the things that this stereotype does, like being strong, doing all this, is like it's forgetting about the softness of being a female, a softness of being feminine, and the power of that, right? So I know that I talk a lot about self-love and self-care and being mindful, but this particular syndrome, especially for a Black woman, it takes away some of our power of receptivity, some of our ability to ask for help, some of our ability just to be soft and kind and honoring of ourselves and our emotions, right? And I'll talk more about this. So if you're following me, make sure you're following me. If this is making sense, please, let me know in the comments. But I'm going to do some more talking around femininity and what that means in terms of self-love and self-honoring. But trust me, this bucks up against it. This does not go hand in hand with us embracing the fullness of who we are as women, okay? And the last thing I really want to say, and it's really key, is that we as women, Black women, and for the women that are not Black that are listening, it applies to you as well. We need to redefine what being strong is, okay? Strong does not mean suffering in silence, which is one of the main negative effects of this particular syndrome, right? We suffer in silence. We're not expecting anybody to help us. We think that being emotionally strong, again, means presenting that image that everything is going okay, that image of strength, right? Doesn't work for us, right? We need to redefine strong. We need to talk, first of all, about being self-honoring. That means fully loving, appreciating, and understanding all of who we are. That's our softness. That's our emotions. That's our times of vulnerability. That is being able to ask for help, right? To me, all of that falls under self-honoring. And I really, if I can get no other message out today, besides the fact that being, first of all, the Black superwoman thing doesn't exist. And it's awful, and it's negative, and it doesn't serve us. It harms us psychologically, and it harms us our health, right? That's out there in that video. If you haven't seen it, the Because Facts video, it's awesome. It explains all about all the negative effects on our health. So I'm not here to preach that. What I'm here to talk to us about today is the idea that we need to honor ourselves as Black women and as women. It is time for us to start having more conversations about what it means to honor ourselves. And trying to say that we can do it all, be it all for everybody but ourselves is not self-honoring. It is not self-honoring. And presenting an image of strong and an image of, I don't need to take care of myself. I can take care of everyone else first. Their needs come before mine. That is not self-honoring. It's not, right? I can't cry. I can't show vulnerability. That is not honoring who we are, how we feel, what we think. Okay, so that's what we need to start figuring out again, is how to redefine strong for ourselves. Okay, and and soft can be strong. Hello, that's another Facebook Live for another day. But soft can be strong. Okay, we need to learn to listen to ourselves and own our inner voice. We need to be able to get quiet enough to hear the messages that we need to hear, right? To understand where our feelings are coming from and our emotions. We're not going to put up a fake facade, right? I'm not saying let our emotions drive our lives. Listening to them and using them as tools and information for us. And if we're putting on this facade that our emotions don't matter and anyone can do, and we're so strong and we're so bad and we can do this and we can do that, where are we finding the time and space to listen to ourselves, to be quiet, okay? The other thing is, of course, I'm gonna say, we need to know when to ask for help. The idea that this super Black woman needs nobody, can do everything on her own, no, sir, no, ma'am. That does not work for us. It just does not work for us. It leaves us isolated and, again, suffering in silence. One of the things the video brought up is that there's this thing called, what was it called? Like the whole idea that there's like, yes, network stress, right? Network stress and direct stress. And I love this good point. It's that we as Black women, we actually take on what our network, our circle, right? Our circle feels like. So we take on their stresses, and in almost, we're just as affected by network stress as direct stress, which is meaning we are being affected directly, right? So if we're doing all these things, we're taking on everybody else's stress, and then we don't know when to ask for help. That's devastating. That's devastating. There's no reason why we have more stress. There's no reason why we have higher, rates of breast cancer mortality, all of these different things, right? Because we're not asking for help. We're not meant to do it all. We weren't designed to do it all. Okay? Let's look at that. There was man and woman design. So we're not meant to do it all. So then the other thing, again, it goes back to taking time for self-care, and as I call it, a soulful self-care, which is really self-love. It's knowing that we are important enough. It involves hearing our feelings and honoring our thoughts. It involves really making room for ourselves. One of the interesting statistics that she brought up on the video, the psychologist that has done the work, is that it's not that women or Black women are diagnosed with breast cancer more than any other race. It's just that we die of it more than any other race. And that is because of delayed response times, right? Not taking care of ourselves, not going into the doctor soon enough, not prioritizing me. Okay. So again, let's redefine strong as taking care of ourselves, having a self-care, self-love, self-honoring. This all goes back to my self-honoring mentality and mindset, right? And the last thing that I want us to do is to not suffer in silence, okay? That is actually what causes so many of us to, even have these psychological effects, even deeper, and to have health issues because we are internalizing them. It's so helpful that we talk about these things, which is one of the reasons why I'm talking about it today, that we talk about these things, that we share, that we open up. We open up. We don't just take on everything and deal with it all by ourselves. It leads to us suffering in silence, which is harming us psychologically and physically. So again, just to recap, if you don't know how I feel, you should by now, right? Is the strong Black woman stereotype hurting Black women? Not only is the answer yes, but it's a resounding hell yes. I think that in fact it is hurting all women because there is a pervasive stereotype out here that women have to do it all. And we know for a fact that not only can we not do it all, it's imaginary, but that we shouldn't do it all. And I'm really urging for women and mothers to really take some time to really honor themselves, how they feel, what they think, right? To get rid of any of the false images, false perceptions, and to ultimately redefine what being strong is and redefine it for themselves. Of course, I have suggestions about being self-honoring and listening to ourselves and our inner voice and knowing when to ask for help and making time for soulful self-care and self-love activities, right? But ultimately, you define them for yourselves. But I'm urging you to reconsider taking this super Black woman syndrome and making it your mindset and mentality, because it is not helping us. So of course, if you need help dismantling this harmful mindset, join my Mindful Mama community. I have a community right here on Facebook. It's here for mamas that are really looking to find more time for self-care and soulful care, as well as being more mindful of their lives and loving the lives they live. And then for deeper work, I offer my Mindful Mama membership community that I'm going to give more information on. It's bit.ly/BBMMMC. Definitely check it out. For a low monthly rate, you can learn how to live and embody self-care, self-love, and mindful techniques. And then, of course, I'm available for one-on-one. But if anything today, I really want to urge you, if you could identify with any of those 5 characteristics, to stop and stop it now. Redefine strong for yourself and make sure you are doing everything you can to honor you. So leave me your thoughts and comments below. Tag a mother, tag a Black woman, tag another woman in the comments. Share this video out and like it. And I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation in the comments. Take care, you all.